And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
What's up, everyone? Tony here, and I have decided to make an impromptu type video. I think I'm late, not think, I am late to the party with, and I'm going to also try my best to do this in one take, or one sitting rather, not one take. This is not scripted, so just my reaction to this. I guess if you want to call it, I guess that's part of the point of the video. I'm not sure what he is talking about here. Okay, let me just get to it here. This is, I will add the link in the description. This is from WITN Channel 22. And this is, I guess, his infamous, Joe Biden's infamous, is it? I don't know. You decide. Corn pop video. I am familiar with that part of it. I never sat and watched the full video. Excuse me. A friend of mine suggested that I actually sit and watch the entire speech, whatever you want to call it, because just watching excerpts doesn't do it justice. So here we are. I am going to try my very best to, how could I even say this? Keep track of what he's talking about is the simplest way I could put it. And I'm assuming him doing this was in part to have himself connect with the black community, endear himself. I am guessing that is why this entire thing took place, which then adds to how ridiculous his time here on the podium is. So, sorry for the long intro, but that's how, I guess that's how I am prepping the upcoming commentary. So, here we go. Joe Biden, corn pop story, full segment. Let us begin.
Mouse, thank you very, very much. Thank you. Can I, before we start, hey, all the kids, you want to come up here and listen? Come on up here. Come up behind me. Because I'm not holding up between them and the pool, man.
Okay,
Come on.
so
My name's Joe Biden, Vice President Biden. Everybody come on up and stand with
about
me.
to come up.
What's your name? There's okay, Cherry. Look, folks, I want to set the record straight in a couple things.
So to begin, these children have, I'm assuming, no interest in leaving the pool to come and stand next to him and listen to him go on and on. So that's my first take. You will see, in my opinion, while he's speaking, the children look like they have absolutely no desire to be away from the pool and standing beside Joe.
I'll wait till everybody gets up here.
Hi.
You're on television, so be good. Okay?
I am.
You are, yeah. See those television cameras?
Hi, Mommy.
That's it.
All right. Can everybody be quiet for just a minute? You're on TV, so you got to be quiet a little bit. Folks, look, this is...
I will say, I think we just passed the part of the interview that made the most sense. Him asking the children to come and stand up beside him. It was goal-directed by Joe. He asks them, requests them to come and join him on the stage. So that is a clear, concise, sensible request that he makes. And I feel like after this, that's when it goes off the rails.
I've received, because of the people of the state of Delaware, I've received an awful lot of wonderful honors all my career. The greatest honor was serving you for so long. But this does mean more to me than anything that's happened. My daughter Ashley's with me. My daughter Ashley got her first job down here at Kingswood out of school. She runs, she's a social worker. Anyway, Bo.
So you could see right there, I feel like he's used up all the gas in the tank. He's tried his he's put his best foot forward here. I think after this, he's used up everything that he's got. He dismisses the daughter, all right, whatever, and moves on, and let's resume.
Bo is associated here. Anyway, the point I want to make is I owe you all. I owe this neighborhood. I learned so much. I was a kid from suburbia. I lived out in Mayfield in a split-level home with my grandpop living with us, and in a 3-bedroom home with 4 kids, my grandpop. And folks, when it's a whole 100 years ago, but I was a senior in high school, and Przicki turned out to be a great athlete in...
Okay, so time out. He just began, or his intention was to start telling the attendees a little bit about his life growing up. Mentions his grandfather there living with him, and it just completely now shifts into an entirely different topic. It's like, okay, let's leave that. Let's dismiss that story now. We're enough grandpop. We're going to move on to Przicki.
At the University of Delaware, but I was runner-up the state scoring championship here in football. I wasn't bad either. And but I wanted to get more involved. And I realized I lived in a neighborhood where I'd turn on the television and I'd see and listen to Dr. King and others. But I didn't know any black people. No, I really didn't. You didn't know any white people either. That's the truth. So I wanted to...
Okay. I don't know why that's on me. I can't find the proper word to describe it. But it's kind of starting off awkward. I didn't know any black people ever, and you never knew any white people. That's a fact. I don't know. It's weird. It comes off odd to me. It's not, I wouldn't say he's hostile. That's not the correct word. But it's a strange way to start your time here on stage. It doesn't seem like an endearing type message to begin with.
Work here. And there's my daughter Ashley. Come on up here, Ash. And so what I did...
I don't believe Ashley ever comes up on the stage. He requests her. I don't see her. I didn't see her, at least I've watched this once. So I may be wrong, but I don't believe she comes up on stage.
What I did was I came down and I applied to the city of Wilmington for a job, and I was the only white employee here. And
okay, why are we continuing on this path? I was the only white employee. Was I there? Can I refute that? I can't. Okay. But I would not think that he was the only white employee. Maybe he was. Possible.
And I learned so much. I learned so much. I learned that folks that I work with, like Spencer Henry and Lafayette Jackson and a whole range of people, Jamie Rolls, a lot of great people who were my fellow lifeguards. There were 13 of us. I learned that they treated me. They treated me as an equal. We used to go in what was not as modern as that. We used to go in the key room at lunchtime after a free swim and sit on the floor because...
Okay, so now he is beginning the part of the... This is the setting up the corn pop part of the speech here. So now he's picking up where he began or was here his time as a lifeguard.
Because it was nice and cool. And remember Boom Boom Cannon and a few other guys that worked here as well. And we sit there and we talk, and they'd ask me questions because I really was the only white guy they really knew. And they'd ask me questions about...
We're really needing to drive home the point that he's possibly the only white man on earth at this time. It doesn't seem as if there are any other.
Everything, I mean, things that just startled me. I remember one time, I won't mention which lifeguard, said, "Do I have a jerry can, a 5-gallon can for gasoline?" And I said, "No, I don't." I said, "But what do you need it for?" He said, we're going down to see my grandmama in North Carolina. We can't stop at most gas stations. They won't let us stop at most gas stations. I learned a lot. And I learned that it makes a difference. This was the diving board area, and I was one of the guards, and there weren't a lot of, there was a 3-meter board. And if you fell off sideways, you landed on the darn cement over there. And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys. And I did, and back in those days, to show how things have changed, one of the things you had to use, if you used pomade in your hair, you had to wear a bathing cap. And so he was up on the...
Who cares?
Board wouldn't listen to me. I said, "Hey, Esther, you, off the board, or I'll come up and drag you off." Well, he came off, and he said, "I'll meet you outside." My car, these were all public housing behind it. My car, there was a gate out here. I parked my car outside the gate. And he said, "I'll be waiting for you." He was waiting for 3 guys in straight razors. Not a joke.
You could see now at this point, nope, it doesn't appear anybody's even paying attention in the crowd. You hear chatter on the side. The kids are turned around. You're talking about now meeting Corn Pop and his other guys out in the parking lot with a straight razor. I don't know why it has gone off onto this course. It's not having anything to do with why you're speaking there today. You've gone off now on a tangent.
There's a guy named Bill Wright, Mouse, the only white guy, and he did all the pools.
That's my mistake. It seems there is another white man during this time period other than Joe.
He was the mechanic. And I said, "What am I going to do?" He said, "Come down here in the basement where where all the pool filter is. You know the chain, there used to be a chain that went across the deep end. And he cut off his..."
So it sounds like at this point, he and it appears now only other white man, I'm sorry for laughing, it appears the only other white man other than Joe, they are now devising their strategy on how to face the black men, it seems, that are in the parking lot.
6-foot length of chain, he folded up, he said, "You walk out with that chain. And you walk to the car and say, 'You may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head.'"
You may cut me, man, but I'm going to wrap this chain around your head. Why are we on this topic? All the kids, look at them. Look at her. they may be concerned about him, for him rather, I'm sorry. You may cut me, but I'll wrap this chain around your head. This is a great story to bridge the racial gap.
I said, you kidding me? He said, no, if you don't come back. And he was right. So I walked out with the chain. And I walked up to my car. And they had, in those days, you used to remember the straight razor. You'd bang them on the curb, get them rusty, put them in a rain barrel, get them rusty. And I looked at
No. Okay, they don't remember. What the fuck are you talking about?
You fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
him. But I was smart then. I said, first of all, I said, when I tell you to get off the board, you get off the board, and I'll kick you out again. But I shouldn't have called you Esther Williams. I apologize for that. I apologize. But I didn't know that apology was going to work. He said, you apologize to me? I said, I apologize for that. Not for throwing you out, but I apologize for what I said. He said, okay, close the straight razor, and my heart began to beat again. I came down here because I remember the first bumper sticker I saw that made me aware when I was in law school.
So disaster averted between he and Corn Pop. Again, I don't know why that story was told. I don't know why it has anything to do with why he's there. No one seems to care what he's saying.
Proudly for Holloway. Proudly for your dad. First African-American state senator in the state of Delaware. Everything about. And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got a lot of.
Did you see that? She doesn't look happy.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand
See,
and it get hot. I got a lot of. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun.
what the fuck are you talking about? Why? You have hairy blonde legs that turn that color in the sun, or whatever he said. It gets better.
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap.
He learned about roaches. He learned about roaches when the children would run their hands down his hairy legs. He learned about roaches when the children would run their hands down his hairy legs. Let me rewind just a tad here. 7:14. Let's come here.
Come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Perfect.
I learned about kids jumping on my lap. I love kids jumping on my lap. I have to say again, what the fuck are you talking about? It's ludicrous. Look at her eyes. They say everything. He's thinking, bless your heart.
And I tell you what, the men, they're now all men, the guys I work with down here, and they're all guys at the time. Most of them made an awful lot of themselves. And Earl Larkin had a rough time. And some of you knew Earl. I came back as a public defender. I came back to Delaware and I got a fancy job with the old.
These children are not paying any, I'm not blaming them, understand, any attention to him. And it still sounds like no one else is either.
Oldest law firm in the state. But the city was burning. It was burning down here. And I couldn't do it. So I quit and became a public defender. And the first trial I had, I walked into court as a public defender with another guy named Eddie Sobocinski, a defender. I'd only been admitted to the bar 1 week. And Earl Larkin was in chains around his ankles and on his wrist, and they were chained together, so on a belt. And he said, "Who's going to try the Larkin case?" I just got started. And he was aptly named. His name was Judge Stiftel. And he said, Sobocinski said, "Well, that's my colleague. He just joined the public defender's office." He said, will you in fact defend him? So she turned to Larkin and said,
all right, so, I feel like maybe some physical, not just mental, physical fatigue may also be setting in at this point. I feel like he's certainly not as bad here as he is now, but this is a casual event, speech, what have you. And I'm not saying this in a mean-spirited way. You could start to see now the earlier signs of him not being cognitively intact. And I'll leave it at that. And it is a shame, but really, in a non-joking manner, to not be funny, or try to be funny rather, this is a good small snippet that shows you the beginning of his cognitive decline.
"He'll defend you." I said, whoa, Your Honor. I know nothing about the case. He said, "I'll give you it till tomorrow, but you draw the jury today." And he looked at Larkin, he said, "You mind if he represents you?" And I'll never forget what he said. I learned a lot. He said, and I mean it sincerely. He looked at me and he said, "One hunky's just as bad as any other. I'll take whoever you send me." And here's what I want to tell you about Earl.
The way he led up to that, I know he's trying to be funny there, but I feel like it falls completely flat. It's not, I don't imagine the defendant he's talking about saying that in a jovial way. He may have, but the way he just presented it, it's making me feel like he said it in a serious manner.
Here's what I want to tell you about the neighborhood and the heart. I defended him. He got beat up right on the other side of the field here. He walking along the tracks. He was a sailor in a sailor's uniform, the guy who he beat up and robbed. And so I thought he was innocent. I kept the jury out 5 hours, but they convicted him. And I felt so bad. So I go down to the old prison all the time. They had little wooden tables and two little chairs in a big dome you'd sit under where you'd be interviewed. And I was sitting there, Councilwoman, and the third time saying, "I'm appealing this case." And finally he took the table, he flipped it up, and he said, jumped up, and the guards came and grabbed him. He said, "Don't you understand, Joe? I did it. I did it." But here's the point. He cared about me. This is a man who saw me bleeding because I saw this guy going to jail and I thought he was innocent. There's character, even in great problems.
What? There's character even in great problems. I'm assuming he's saying that, I don't know. I would like to hear what you have to think. Is he saying that the defendant started to feel bad that Joe believed he was innocent and wanted to get him off? Is that the point of the story? And Joe is making it as though how what an excellent trait it is of his, or was at the time, to vigorously want to defend this man, believing he was innocent, even though he was guilty. But we're supposed to think Joe just didn't think he was guilty, or I'm not sure. I'm tongue-tied.
There's so much character in this neighborhood. There was so much.
Allow me, again, this is how I've listened, I've heard it. There's so much character in this neighborhood. Allow me to use a story to demonstrate that by telling you a story where someone brutally assaulted a sailor. There's so much character in this neighborhood. Do you know that at one time, one of the residents brutally assaulted a sailor? That's character. That's the way he's making it sound. Again, kids are like, please, they're going to be in tears if they can't get off this stage with him.
Much character back then, too. So many people didn't get a shot. So many people didn't get a shot who could be standing right where Lisa's standing today, a lot earlier, could be standing where I'm standing today. Let me end by saying,
please end. They're already clapping. You know, it's like Showtime at the Apollo at this stage. They should have sent the clown out with the cane that they could wrap around him and get him off the stage.
And then let me end by saying, I was a pretty darn good lifeguard. Yeah, man. I taught swimming, too. And I remember going over, we used to play the other pools, and we played basketball at lunchtime, remember? We went over to Riverside, we played. And someone on the other team threw the ball to me by accident. And they looked at me and said, oh, God, I thought you were on my team. I'm thinking, I'm the only white boy within 20 miles.
There we go. Let's
remember, I had to
finish it
get
off
invited
with
down
one
to
of
Baby
those.
Grand. I walk in and say, who's this guy? And they say, he's ours. He's ours. You've always had my back. The neighborhood's always had my back. And God willing, I've always had your back. And I'll always have it as long as I'm around. I love you. It's a great honor. Thank you very much. And if I were still a lifeguard, I'd say, time to get in the pool. Thanks, everybody. And Councilwoman, thank you so, so much for this honor. Thank you. So how you guys doing? Who here is going to be president someday? Raise your hand. All right. I'll tell you one more story on their way out. You know what?
He just won't let them go. It's like it's a torture. Imagine this would be one of the scenes in Hostel where instead of being mutilated, you are in a room listening to him speak like this and you can't leave. But what happens is it always appears as if you will have a chance to get out, but you never do, and he reels you back in.
There was a guy, when I first started, black folks weren't even allowed to vote very much, very easily. That's how long ago it was. And guess what I got to do? 8 years ago, I got to be in the Wilmington train station, looking over the 3rd Street Bridge that had been burned to the ground, most of it, thinking nothing was ever going to get any better 40 years ago. Waiting for a black man to pick me up, to take me 124 miles to be sworn in as president. And
what are you talking about? Wait, okay, 12:10. Let's take this to 12.
Going to get any better 40 years ago. Waiting for a black man to pick me up.
Waiting for a black man to pick me up.
To take me 124 miles to be sworn in as president.
Okay, so who knows? Maybe Joe is still waiting for a black man to pick him up. I guess we'll never know. Maybe somebody can go check out wherever he gave this speech and see if he's still standing there. Your guess is as good as mine. Anyway, I thank you for watching. I ask you to please like and subscribe. Until the next video, Base Tony, out.